What if I told you that a 23-year-old black man once hijacked a Confederate warship in the middle of the Civil War, sailed it past 5 armed fortresses, and handed it to the Union Navy with a smile on his face? What if I told you that same man went on to serve 5 terms in the United States Congress and created America's first free public school system? What if I told you he bought the plantation where he'd been enslaved and then let his former enslaver live there when she became homeless? May 13th, 1862, 4 o'clock in the morning. Charleston Harbor, South Carolina. The CSS Planter, a Confederate transport ship loaded with 4 large cannons and 200 pounds of ammunition, is moving silently through pitch-black water. At the wheel stands Robert Smalls. He's wearing a Confederate captain's jacket. He's wearing the captain's straw hat. His arms are crossed exactly the way Captain Relay crosses his arms. His posture is perfect, confident, commanding. But Robert Smalls is not Captain Relay. Robert Smalls is enslaved and hidden below deck, terrified and praying, are his wife, Hannah, his 2 young children, his elderly mother, Lydia, and 12 other enslaved people. 16 souls total, all betting their lives on this one audacious plan. The ship approaches Fort Johnson. Confederate guards with rifles stand on the parapet. Cannons are aimed at the water. One wrong move and everyone on that ship dies. Smalls pulls the steam whistle. 2 short blasts. Pause. 1 long blast. The exact signal. The Confederate signal that says friendly vessel passing through. The guards squint into the darkness. They see the silhouette. They see the straw hat. They see the captain's posture. They wave the ship through. 4 more checkpoints to go. 4 more chances to die. What happened in the next 90 minutes would be erased from American textbooks for over a century. The escape that proved enslaved people weren't helpless victims waiting for rescue. The rebellion that convinced Abraham Lincoln to let black men fight for their own freedom. The story they buried because it shattered every lie they told about slavery. His name is Robert Smalls. And by the time you finish this video, you'll know why they don't teach his name in schools. You'll know why this one man's courage changed the course of the Civil War. And you'll never believe the sanitized version of history they fed you ever again. Everything you learned about slavery was designed to make you think enslaved people were docile, patient, waiting for white saviors to grant them freedom. That narrative is a lie, and Robert Smalls proved it was a lie on May 13th, 1862, when he stole a Confederate warship right under their noses. This isn't ancient history. Robert Smalls died in 1915. Your great-grandparents were alive. His grandchildren lived to see the 1990s. His great-grandchildren are alive today, walking around right now. And most of them grew up never learning his story in school because the people who write textbooks couldn't handle the truth. Couldn't handle a story about a black man who outsmarted the entire Confederate military. Couldn't handle a story about an enslaved pilot who became more powerful than most white men in America. After this video, you'll understand why they only teach you about peaceful patience and quiet suffering. You'll understand why they buried the story of armed resistance and brilliant strategy. You'll understand why your history books skip from slavery to Martin Luther King with nothing in between. By the end of this video, you'll know how one enslaved man delivered a $60,000 warship to the Union. That's over $2 million today. You'll know how he convinced President Lincoln face-to-face to authorize black soldiers to fight. You'll know how he served 5 terms in Congress and wrote the legislation that created free public education. You'll know how he bought the plantation where he was enslaved and then showed mercy to the woman who owned him. And you'll know why none of this was in your textbook. Why they erased the most audacious military escape in American history. Because it proved everything they taught you about slavery was designed to keep you ignorant. This is your history. This affects your life today. This explains why your family rents instead of owns. Why the wealth gap exists. Why they still fight against teaching accurate history in schools. They didn't just enslave your ancestors. They erased the ones who fought back. They deleted the warriors. They removed the geniuses. They buried the congressmen and the millionaires and the strategists. Robert Smalls was all of those things, and they made sure you'd never know his name until now. Let's begin. Robert Smalls was born on April 5, 1839, in Beaufort, South Carolina. Born on a plantation. Born into slavery. Born as property. His mother's name was Lydia Polite. She was enslaved as a house servant for the McKee family. His father's identity was never confirmed, but most historians believe it was Henry McKee, the enslaver himself, or another white man in the area. That's how it worked. Enslaved women had no protection, no rights, no choice. Lydia worked inside the McKee house at 511 Prince Street in Beaufort, a large, beautiful mansion, white columns, sprawling rooms, expensive furniture. And Lydia cleaned it, cooked in it, raised white children in it while raising her own son as property in the same house. Robert grew up in that house. He saw wealth he could never have. He saw freedom he was denied. He saw white children his age learning to read while he was prohibited by law from learning. South Carolina law in the 1840s made it illegal to teach enslaved people to read. The penalty was whipping, or worse, because they knew. They always knew. Education is power, and they couldn't risk enslaved people gaining power. But Robert was brilliant, sharp mind, observant. He watched everything. He listened to everything. He absorbed information like a sponge, and he waited. When Robert was 12 years old, his mother made a decision that would change his life. She convinced the McKee family to hire Robert out to work in Charleston. Why would she do that? Because she knew. She knew that on a plantation her son would be worked to death in the fields. But in Charleston at the docks, he might learn a trade. He might survive. He might see a path to something more. So in 1851, 12-year-old Robert Smalls was sent to Charleston. He worked on the docks, loading ships, unloading cargo, watching boats come and go. And he became fascinated with ships, the way they moved, the way they were piloted, the way they navigated the complex waterways of Charleston Harbor. Charleston Harbor wasn't simple water. It was a maze. Sandbars, narrow channels, shifting tides, strong currents. You had to know every inch, every marker, every depth. One wrong turn and your ship runs aground. You need a pilot, someone who knows the harbor like the back of his hand. Robert Smalls decided he would become that person. By age 15, he was working as a deckhand on ships. By 17, he was a wheelman, learning to steer. By 19, he was working as a pilot. Not officially, because black people couldn't hold official titles. But in practice, Robert Smalls was piloting ships through Charleston Harbor. White captains relied on him because he was that good. He knew every sandbar, every channel, every checkpoint, every signal code. Think about that. He was enslaved. He was property. But he had knowledge that white ship captains needed. He had skills they didn't have. And they had to trust him with expensive ships and valuable cargo because he was the best pilot in Charleston Harbor. In 1856, Robert married Hannah Jones. She was enslaved, too. They had no legal right to marry, but they did it anyway in a church ceremony. They committed to each other. They started a family. They had 2 children, Elizabeth and Robert Jr., and every single one of them was enslaved. Property. Assets on someone else's ledger. Robert was hired out to work on the CSS Planter in early 1861. The CSS Planter was a Confederate transport ship, a sidewheel steamer, 147 feet long, armed with cannons, used to move troops, weapons, and ammunition around Charleston Harbor, used to lay underwater mines to sink Union ships, critical to the Confederate defense of Charleston. And Robert Smalls was the pilot, the enslaved pilot. He knew that ship better than anyone. He knew every mechanical detail, every weapon on board, every route it traveled, every military checkpoint it passed, every signal code used to identify friendly vessels. He also knew something else. He knew Union Navy ships were blockading Charleston Harbor just 7 miles offshore. 7 miles between slavery and freedom. 7 miles between being property and being a man. The thought lived in his mind, grew, burned, became an obsession. What if? What if he could steal the ship? What if he could sail it past the Confederate forts? What if he could deliver it to the Union? What if he could take his family with him? What if he could be free by morning? By early 1862, Robert Smalls had made his decision. He wasn't going to wait for the Union Army to free him. He wasn't going to beg for mercy. He wasn't going to hope someday someone would grant him freedom. He was going to take it, and he was going to do it in the most audacious way possible. He was going to steal a Confederate warship. The Civil War was raging. North versus South, Union versus Confederacy. 600,000 men would die before it ended. The entire war was about whether black people were human beings or property, whether slavery would expand or end. And most enslaved people were told to wait. Be patient. Let the white men fight it out. You'll be free when they decide to free you. Robert Smalls said no. I will free myself. The CSS Planter carried weapons. 4 large cannons, 200 pounds of ammunition. It was a military target, a military asset. If the Union got their hands on it, they'd gain serious firepower. But more importantly, Robert Smalls had something even more valuable than weapons. He had intelligence. He knew where every Confederate gun battery was positioned around Charleston Harbor. He knew where the underwater mines were. He knew troop movements. He knew defensive weak points. His knowledge could help the Union win the war. But first, he had to survive the escape. And the odds of survival were close to 0. Charleston Harbor was one of the most heavily defended ports in the Confederacy. 5 major forts: Fort Johnson, Castle Pinckney, Fort Ripley, Fort Sumter, Morris Island, each one armed with dozens of cannons, each one manned by soldiers under orders to sink any ship that didn't give the proper signal codes, each one ready to blow the CSS Planter out of the water if anything seemed wrong. Robert would have to pass all 5, in darkness, with his family hidden below deck, impersonating a white captain, giving perfect signal codes, never hesitating, never showing fear. One mistake and everyone dies. Most people would say it's impossible, suicidal, insane. Robert Smalls said it's the only option, because living as a slave was a death sentence anyway. Slow death, spiritual death, generational death. His children would be slaves. Their children would be slaves. Forever. Unless he did something. So he planned, meticulously, carefully, obsessively. He studied Captain Relay's mannerisms, the way he stood, the way he crossed his arms, the way he wore his straw hat. Robert practiced in secret. He memorized the signal codes perfectly. 2 short whistle blasts, then 1 long for Fort Johnson. Different signals for different checkpoints. Get one wrong and they open fire. He recruited 8 other enslaved crew members, men he trusted: William Morrison, Abraham Alston, John Smalls, Samuel Chisholm, Alfred Gradine, Abraham Jackson, Gabriel Turno, David Jones. He told them the plan. He told them the risks. He told them they'd probably die. And every single one of them said yes. Because freedom was worth dying for. They waited for the right moment, the perfect opportunity. And it came on the night of May 12, 1862. The white officers did something they'd done before, but weren't supposed to do. They left the ship overnight. They went into Charleston to sleep on shore, probably visiting bars, maybe visiting women. violating Confederate Navy regulations. But they didn't care, because they didn't believe enslaved people would ever dare to do anything. Enslaved people were docile, obedient, controllable. That's what they believed. Robert Smalls knew better. He knew exactly what enslaved people would dare to do when the moment came. May the 12th, 1862, 10 o'clock at night. The white officers walk off the CSS Planter and disappear into Charleston. The ship is left in the hands of the enslaved crew, just like the officers planned. They'd be back by morning. What could possibly go wrong? Robert gathered the crew. This is it. This is our chance. We leave at 3 in the morning. Get some rest. Pray. And be ready to risk everything. At 3 o'clock in the morning on May 13, 1862, Robert Smalls and his crew quietly fired up the CSS Planter's engines. The steam boiler roared to life. The paddle wheels started turning. The ship began to move, away from the dock, into the darkness, into history. But first they had to pick up their families, because Robert wasn't leaving without them. What good is freedom if your wife and children are still enslaved? What good is escape if your mother is still property? The Planter moved silently through the harbor to North Atlantic Wharf, where families were waiting in the shadows. Hannah Smalls, Robert's wife, holding their 2 young children, Elizabeth, age 5, Robert Jr., age 3, Lydia Polite, Robert's mother, now in her 50s, still enslaved, still property after 5 decades. 7 more people, relatives and friends, wives and children of the crew, all of them terrified, all of them praying, all of them knowing if this failed, they'd be tortured and killed as examples. 16 people total climbed aboard. The women and children hid below deck in the cramped hot boiler room. If Confederate soldiers boarded the ship, they'd be discovered immediately. But if they stayed hidden and the ship made it through, they'd be free by sunrise. Robert Smalls put on Captain Relay's jacket, put on the straw hat, stood at the wheel in the exact posture Captain Relay always used. Arms crossed, head high, confident. And the CSS Planter began moving toward the first checkpoint. Fort Johnson. It's 4 in the morning, pitch black. The only light comes from guard lanterns on the fort walls. The CSS Planter approaches slowly, steady, routine, like it's done 100 times before. Robert Smalls pulls the steam whistle. 2 short blasts. Pause. 1 long blast. The signal for friendly Confederate vessel requesting passage. The guards on Fort Johnson look out into the darkness. They see the Planter. They recognize the ship. They see a figure at the wheel, straw hat, captain's posture. Must be Captain Relay. They've seen him 1,000 times. They wave the ship through. Permission granted. Keep moving. 1 checkpoint down. 4 to go. The Planter continues through the black water, hearts pounding. Below deck, the women clutch their children. Don't make a sound. Don't cry. Don't move. Pray silently. 16 lives depend on absolute silence. Castle Pinckney, 2nd checkpoint. Same procedure. Robert gives the signal. The guards wave them through. They don't suspect a thing. Fort Ripley, 3rd checkpoint. It's still dark, but the sky is starting to lighten just barely. Dawn is coming. They're running out of darkness. Robert gives the signal. The guards hesitate for a moment. They squint. They look closer. Robert doesn't flinch. He stands exactly like Captain Relay. Straw hat tilted the same way. Arms crossed the same way. The guards decide it's fine. Wave them through. 3 down. 2 to go. But the next one is the most dangerous. Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter is the most heavily armed fort in Charleston Harbor. More than 20 massive cannons pointed at the water. This is where the Civil War started. This is where Confederate forces fired the first shots. This fort means everything to the Confederacy. And the soldiers here are on high alert. Paranoid. Ready to shoot first and ask questions later. Robert Smalls has to be perfect. One tiny mistake, one wrong signal, one moment of hesitation, and 20 cannons turn the Planter into splinters. The ship approaches Fort Sumter, slowly, steadily. Robert can see soldiers on the parapet. He can see the cannons. He can feel their eyes on him. His hand is on the whistle cord. His heart is hammering, but his face shows nothing. Just calm. Just confidence. Just Captain Relay making a routine trip. He pulls the cord. 2 short blasts. 1 long blast. The signal code. Perfect timing. Perfect execution. The soldiers watch. They stare. They're trying to see clearly in the dim pre-dawn light. The silhouette looks right. The ship is familiar. The signal is correct. They see the straw hat. Must be Captain Relay. They wave the ship through. Permission granted. Robert Smalls just conned his way past the most dangerous checkpoint in Confederate territory. But he's not free yet. One more fort. Morris Island. And then open water. The Planter keeps moving. The sun is starting to rise. Light is breaking over the horizon. They're running out of time. In full daylight, the guards will see clearly. They'll see Robert's face. They'll know he's not Captain Relay. They'll open fire. Morris Island, the final checkpoint, the last barrier between slavery and freedom. Robert gives the signal one more time. The guards are waking up, starting their day. They glance at the Planter. Same ship as always. Same routine. Wave it through. And just like that, the CSS Planter is past the last Confederate fort, out of range of their cannons. In open water, 7 miles ahead, the Union blockade ships are visible on the horizon. Robert Smalls tears off the Confederate flag. He pulls out a white bedsheet. A white flag. Surrender. He hoists it up the mast, and he steers the Planter directly toward the USS Onward, the closest Union ship. On board the USS Onward Union, sailors see a Confederate ship approaching, flying a white flag. They're confused. Is this a trick, a trap, some kind of Confederate strategy? The sailors man their guns, ready to fire if needed. The Planter gets closer. Close enough for voices to carry across the water. Robert Smalls, still wearing the Confederate captain's jacket, still wearing the straw hat, steps to the rail and shouts across the water. "Good morning, sir. I've brought you some of the old United States guns, sir," all with a smile on his face. The Union sailors are stunned, speechless. A Confederate transport ship just sailed up to them and surrendered. And the person at the helm is black. And there are 16 formerly enslaved people on board. And the ship is loaded with cannons and ammunition and military intelligence. Robert Smalls just delivered the Union Navy a fully armed Confederate warship. 200 pounds of ammunition, 4 large cannons, 20 cords of firewood, and intelligence about Charleston Harbor, defenses that would prove invaluable for the rest of the war. He handed them a $60,000 asset, over $2 million in today's money. Just drove it right up to their ship and said, "Here you go." The Union officers board the Planter. They can't believe what they're seeing. They ask Robert to explain. "How did you do this? How did you get past 5 Confederate forts? How did you know the signal codes? How did you pull this off?" Robert tells them everything. The planning, the waiting, the perfect impersonation, the signals, the checkpoints, the families hidden below deck. And then he tells them something even more valuable. He tells them where every Confederate gun battery is positioned, where the underwater mines are located, how many troops are stationed where, defensive weak points, supply routes, everything he knows, everything that can help the Union win this war. The Union officers realize they're looking at a genius, a strategic mastermind, a man who just executed the most daring escape of the entire Civil War. An enslaved man who outsmarted the Confederate military and delivered a massive blow to their defenses, and he did it without firing a single shot. By 9 o'clock that morning, word spreads through the Union fleet. The CSS Planter has been captured. 16 enslaved people are free. Robert Smalls is a hero. And the Confederate forces in Charleston are absolutely enraged. They just lost a critical ship. They just lost valuable intelligence. They just got humiliated by an enslaved pilot. And every enslaved person in Charleston just saw that escape is possible. Resistance is possible. Freedom can be taken, not just granted. Within days, Robert Smalls' story is in northern newspapers. Enslaved pilot steals. Confederate warship. Black hero delivers ship to Union Navy. The North is celebrating. The South is seething. And Robert Smalls becomes an overnight sensation. The Union Navy doesn't just thank him and send him on his way. They hire him. They make him a pilot for the Union Navy. They pay him. Not the $16 a month he was getting as enslaved labor, with $15 going to his enslaver and $1 for himself. Real pay. Fair pay. And they give him prize money, $1,500. His share of the value of the captured ship. That's about $45,000 today. Robert Smalls went from property to paid employee to war hero in one night. But he's not done. Not even close. Because Robert Smalls has a bigger mission now. He doesn't just want freedom for himself and his family. He wants freedom for all 4 million enslaved people in America. And he knows how to get it. Black soldiers. Let black men fight for their own freedom. In 1862, the Union Army doesn't allow black soldiers. Official policy. Black men can work as laborers, cooks, servants. But not soldiers. Not fighters. Because the belief is that black men won't fight. Can't fight. Aren't brave enough or disciplined enough or intelligent enough to be soldiers. That's the excuse. The real reason is racism. Fear. White military leaders afraid of armed black men. Afraid of what happens after the war if black men have military training. Robert Smalls says that's nonsense. Black men will fight if you give them the chance. Black men are fighting right now in their own ways. I just stole a Confederate warship. You think I won't fight in a battle? He gets invited to Washington, D.C., brought before President Abraham Lincoln himself and Secretary of War Edwin Stanton. Robert Smalls, former enslaved pilot, now sitting in the White House, talking directly to the President of the United States. Lincoln asks him questions. What's it like in the South? What are enslaved people thinking? Will they fight for the Union if given the chance? Robert looks Lincoln in the eye and says, "Yes, sir. Black men will fight for freedom. We're not helpless. We're not weak. We're warriors. We've been fighting for survival our whole lives. Now give us rifles and we'll fight for freedom. Give us the chance and we'll prove we're as brave as any white soldier." Lincoln listens. Stanton listens. And they're convinced. Robert Smalls convinces them. Not with speeches. Not with begging. With evidence. With his own story. "I hijacked a Confederate warship and sailed it past 5 forts and handed it to you. That's what black men are capable of. Now imagine what we can do with rifles and training." In July 1862, just 2 months after Robert's escape, Congress passes the Militia Act, authorizes black soldiers. In January 1863, Lincoln signs the Emancipation Proclamation, declares enslaved people in Confederate states are free, and authorizes black men to serve in the Union Army and Navy. By the end of the war, more than 180,000 black soldiers serve in the Union Army. That's 10% of total Union forces. They fight in hundreds of battles. They die by the thousands. And they prove Robert Smalls right. Black men will fight for freedom. Black men are warriors. And it all started because one enslaved pilot refused to wait, refused to be patient, refused to let white people decide when he'd be free. He took freedom. And in doing so, He opened the door for 180,000 others to fight for theirs. Here's how Robert Smalls' story connects to your life today. Right now, in 2025, this isn't ancient history. This is explaining why things are the way they are. Let's talk about wealth. Robert Smalls built wealth. He earned prize money from the planter, $1,500. He earned captain's salary during the war. He earned congressional salary for 20 years. He bought property. He invested in businesses. He started a newspaper. He accumulated assets. And he passed some of that wealth to his children. His descendants today benefit from what he built. That's how generational wealth works. You build it. You pass it down. Your children start ahead of where you started. Their children start even further ahead. Over generations, wealth compounds. Property appreciates. Investments grow. Opportunities multiply. But here's the thing. Robert Smalls was an exception. He was one of very few Black people who managed to build and keep wealth during that era. For most Black families, wealth was stolen. Systematically, violently, legally. Let me give you the numbers. In 2024, the median white household has $284,000 in wealth. The median Black household has $44,100. That's a gap of 6.4 times. White families have 6 times more wealth than Black families on average. Why is it because Black people don't work hard? Is it because Black people make bad financial decisions? Is it because Black people don't value education or entrepreneurship? No, none of those racist explanations hold up to scrutiny. The wealth gap exists because of theft, because what Black people built was stolen. Because when Black families accumulated property and wealth, white supremacists destroyed it. And this didn't happen once or twice. It happened thousands of times. In every southern state, in northern states too. For decades, for over a century. Let me show you the pattern. Let me show you how they stole generational wealth from Black families. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. The Greenwood District, Black Wall Street, the wealthiest Black community in America. Black-owned banks, Black-owned hotels, Black-owned grocery stores, theaters, newspapers, law firms, doctors' offices. 300 businesses owned by Black people. Millionaires, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, families who built wealth from nothing in one generation. May 31st, 1921. A white mob attacks. They burned 35 city blocks to the ground. 1,500 homes destroyed. 300 Black people murdered. Property damage estimated at $32 million in today's money. Every business gone. Every home burned. Every bank account emptied. Every asset stolen or destroyed. And what happened next? The city changed the building codes, made it illegal to rebuild without brick construction. But they refused to give loans to Black people for brick construction. So Black families couldn't rebuild. The city rezoned the area, prohibited Black businesses from returning, and insurance companies denied every claim. $1.8 million in claims filed. That's $32 million today. Every single claim denied. The insurance companies said it was a riot, not a massacre. And their policies don't cover riots. Think about that. A white mob murders your family, burns your home, destroys your business. You file an insurance claim. They say, sorry, riot exclusion. We're not paying. Then the city changes the laws so you can't rebuild. Then they burn the property records, so you can't prove you owned anything in the first place. That wealth was never recovered. Those families never got compensated. The children who should have inherited homes and businesses inherited nothing. Poverty instead of prosperity. Trauma instead of wealth. And that trauma and poverty passed down through generations. If those Tulsa families still owned that property today, it would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But they don't own it. White developers bought the land for pennies, built new businesses, got rich off stolen land, and black families got nothing. That's not ancient history. People alive today are grandchildren of Tulsa massacre survivors. The theft is 2 generations ago, your grandmother's lifetime, and Tulsa wasn't unique. Rosewood, Florida, 1923, an entire black town destroyed, at least 6 black people murdered, every home burned, every resident driven out. The town was wiped off the map, property stolen, wealth erased. Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898, a white supremacist coup. The only successful coup in American history. They overthrew a legally elected biracial government, murdered 60 to 300 black residents, destroyed the black newspaper, burned black businesses, drove 2,000 black residents out of the city, property stolen, wealth confiscated. Elaine, Arkansas, 1919. Black sharecroppers tried to organize for fair wages. White mobs killed between 100 to 200 black people, destroyed black churches, burned black homes, stole black property. This happened in every state: Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas, Illinois, Pennsylvania. Anywhere black people built wealth, white supremacists destroyed it. And the pattern was always the same: violence, destruction, legal barriers to rebuilding, no compensation, no justice, stolen wealth never returned. But it's not just massacres, it's also policy, legal theft, redlining. Do you know what redlining is? From the 1930s to the 1960s, the federal government literally drew red lines on maps around black neighborhoods. Banks were instructed not to give mortgages to people in redlined areas. Black families couldn't get home loans, couldn't buy property, were forced to rent. Meanwhile, white families got federally backed mortgages, bought homes in suburbs, built equity, passed property to their children. By the time redlining was made illegal in 1968, white families had accumulated trillions in property wealth. Black families were locked out. And here's the kicker: your parents were alive in 1968. This isn't history. This is your lifetime. Your parents or grandparents were denied mortgages because of their skin color. The wealth they should have built was stolen from them by government policy. Today, homeownership is the primary way American families build wealth. 73% of white families own homes. 44% of black families own homes. That gap exists because of redlining, because of theft, because of policy designed to keep black people from building wealth. If Robert Smalls's story was the norm instead of the exception, if black families had been allowed to build and keep wealth like he did, the wealth gap wouldn't exist. Black families would have generational wealth comparable to white families. But that's not what happened. What happened was systematic theft, legal and illegal, violent and bureaucratic, for over 100 years, and they never paid it back, never compensated, never made restitution, just moved on and told black people to work harder. That brings us to reparations. And I know some of you just tensed up at that word. But stay with me, because reparations isn't a radical idea. It's simple justice. It's returning stolen property. If someone steals your car and gives it to their son, and you find out 30 years later you're entitled to get your car back, or compensation for its value, that's not controversial. That's basic justice. Stolen property must be returned. Slavery was theft. Unpaid labor for 250 years. Billions of hours of work. No compensation. The value of that stolen labor is estimated at over $14 trillion in today's money. That's money owed. But it's not just slavery. It's what happened after. The massacres, the stolen property, the destroyed businesses. Tulsa alone was 32 million in today's dollars. Multiply that by hundreds of towns, thousands of incidents. over decades. The amount stolen is astronomical, and it's not just the past, it's ongoing. Mass incarceration is theft. Black men incarcerated at 5 times the rate of white men. Prison labor paid pennies per hour. That's stolen labor. That's unpaid wages. That's ongoing theft. Wage discrimination is theft. Black workers paid less than white workers for the same job. That gap compounds over a career, over a lifetime. That's stolen income. Environmental racism is theft. Black neighborhoods targeted for toxic waste dumps, polluting factories' highways. Property values decrease. Health costs increase. That's stolen wealth and stolen health. The debt compounds. The theft continues. And the people who say slavery was long ago, we can't be held responsible, are ignoring that the theft never stopped. Here's the argument they make. They say it's too expensive. We can't afford reparations. But the United States spent $2 trillion on the Iraq War, spent $7 trillion on COVID relief, spent billions on bank bailouts. Money appears when the government wants it to appear. The question isn't, can we afford it? The question is, do we have the moral courage to pay what's owed? They say it's too complicated. How do you determine who gets it? But Germany still pays Holocaust reparations 80 years later. They figured it out. Japan paid reparations to Japanese Americans for internment camps. They figured it out. It's only complicated if you don't want to do it. They say black people should just work harder. But Robert Smalls worked harder than almost any American in history. Stole a warship. Served in war. Served in Congress. Built businesses. And he still had to fight white supremacy his whole life. Hard work isn't the issue. Stolen wealth is the issue. The resistance to reparations is the same resistance that erased Robert Smalls from textbooks. The same resistance that refuses to acknowledge the debt. The same resistance that wants to move on without paying back what was stolen. It's moral cowardice. It's injustice. And it needs to be called out. Now let's connect this to current struggles, because the same systems that oppressed Robert Smalls in the 1890s are still operating today. Different names, same function: voter suppression. Robert Smalls fought against it in 1895 at the South Carolina Constitutional Convention. They passed poll taxes, literacy tests, grandfather clauses, all designed to prevent black people from voting. He warned the nation. They ignored him. In 2025, we're still fighting voter suppression, ID laws that disproportionately affect black voters, polling place closures in black neighborhoods, voter roll purges, gerrymandering that dilutes black voting power. It's the same playbook, same tactics, same goal: keep black people from political power. Robert Smalls saw this in 1895. You're seeing it now, 130 years later, because they never stopped. Education inequality. Robert Smalls created free public schools for all children in South Carolina. After Reconstruction ended white supremacists defunded black schools, gave them the worst buildings, the oldest textbooks, the least qualified teachers, kept black children undereducated. In 2025, black schools are still underfunded because schools are funded by local property taxes. Black neighborhoods have lower property values because of redlining and disinvestment. Lower property values mean lower tax revenue. Lower tax revenue means underfunded schools. It's a system designed to perpetuate inequality. And it's still working. Police violence. During Robert Smalls' era, white mobs lynched black people while police watched. Sometimes police participated. 5,000 documented lynchings from 1865 to the 1950s. Thousands more undocumented. Black people murdered with no consequences, no arrests, no trials, no justice. In 2025, police kill black people at 2.5 times the rate of white people. Unarmed black men shot, choked, beaten, and often no consequences, no convictions. Qualified immunity protects officers. The violence never stopped. It just changed uniforms. George Floyd was murdered the same way lynching victims were murdered. Slowly, publicly, with onlookers watching. The crowd begged the officer to stop, just like crowds sometimes begged lynch mobs to stop. It didn't matter then. Didn't matter in 2020. The disregard for black life continues. Mass incarceration. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, except as punishment for crime. Read that again. Except as punishment for crime. They left a loophole, and white supremacists drove a truck through it. After Reconstruction, Southern states passed black codes, laws that criminalized being black, vagrancy laws, loitering laws, laws against not having a job or having the wrong job. Black people were arrested for anything, then leased to plantations as convict labor. Slavery with a new name. In 2025, the United States will have 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's prisoners. Black Americans are 13% of the population, but 38% of prisoners. 1 in 3 black men will be incarcerated in their lifetime. The system feeds black bodies into prisons, uses them for labor, pays them pennies. It's slavery. Legal slavery. Still operating. Robert Smalls fought convict leasing in the 1880s, spoke against it in Congress, and you're still fighting mass incarceration in 2025 because the 13th Amendment loophole was never closed. Gentrification. Robert Smalls bought the McKee House in 1864 for $605. If his descendants still owned it, it would be worth over $800,000 today. That's generational wealth. That's property appreciation. But gentrification in Beaufort has pushed many black families out. Property taxes rise. Longtime black residents can't afford them. Forced to sell. White developers buy cheap, renovate, sell high, profit off displacement. It's legal, it's modern, and it's theft. This is happening in every city. Black neighborhoods targeted for development. Property taxes increase, rents increase. Black families can't afford to stay, move out, lose their homes, lose their history, lose their community, and developers get rich. It's the same pattern as the Tulsa Massacre. Different method, same result. Black people lose property. White people profit. Wealth transferred from black to white. Legal theft. Do you see it now? Do you see the pattern? Every single injustice. Robert Smalls fought in the 1870s and 1880s and 1890s still exists today. Different forms, same function. Voter suppression, educational inequality, police violence, legal slavery through mass incarceration, property theft through gentrification. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. The tactics change. The theft continues. The oppression adapts. And Robert Smalls fought it in 1895. You're fighting it in 2025. Because they never stopped. They just got smarter about hiding it. But here's what I need you to understand. You are not victims. You are not helpless. You are not powerless. You are descendants of Robert Smalls. You are descendants of warriors who didn't wait for permission to be free. Listen to me carefully. You are not victims. You are survivors of 400 years of terrorism. You are descendants of people who survived the Middle Passage when millions died. You are descendants of people who survived slavery when they were worked to death. You are descendants of people who survived lynching when 5,000 were murdered. You are descendants of people who survived Jim Crow when they were denied every right. You are descendants of Robert Smalls, who stole a Confederate warship and became a congressman. That strength is in your DNA. That courage is in your bloodline. That brilliance is your inheritance. Not poverty, not oppression. Brilliance, courage, strength. That's what you inherited. Your ancestors were geniuses. Robert Smalls memorized signal codes while enslaved, studied ship navigation while prohibited from education, planned a military operation so perfect that Union officers couldn't believe it. At 23 years old, while enslaved, he executed a plan that required perfect timing, perfect impersonation, perfect navigation, perfect nerve, and he succeeded. Your ancestors were builders. Robert Smalls didn't just escape, he built a political career, built a school system, built businesses, built wealth, built a legacy, all while facing daily terrorism, daily discrimination, daily threats. He built anyway, because that's what your ancestors do. They build. Your ancestors were warriors. Robert Smalls fought in 17 naval battles, could have died 17 times, kept fighting, became a captain, commanded white sailors, made life and death decisions, because he was a warrior, not passive, not patient, not waiting for rescue. A warrior who fought for freedom. Your ancestors were compassionate. Robert Smalls could have turned Jane McKee away when she came back homeless, could have laughed in her face, could have said, "You enslaved me, now suffer." He didn't. He let her live in his house, showed mercy, demonstrated that power doesn't require cruelty, that justice doesn't mean revenge, that freedom makes you better, not bitter. All of that is in you. The genius, the building, the fighting, the compassion. It's in your DNA. You come from Robert Smalls. You come from people who hijacked warships. You come from people who became congressmen. You come from people who created school systems. You come from people who showed mercy to enemies. Your poverty is not your fault. Your struggle is not because you didn't work hard enough. Your family's economic situation is not because of bad choices. It's because what your ancestors built was stolen. It's because the wealth Robert Smalls accumulated was the exception. And most black families had their wealth destroyed. If Tulsa hadn't been burned, those families would be millionaires today. If Rosewood hadn't been destroyed, those families would own valuable property today. If redlining hadn't locked black families out of homeownership, the wealth gap wouldn't exist. Your poverty is stolen inheritance. Your struggle is ongoing theft, and you are owed compensation. But don't wait for them to pay you back. Build anyway. Like Robert Smalls built. Like your ancestors built. They tried to stop you. They failed. You're still here, still building, still fighting, still rising, and they can't stop you. God preserved Robert Smalls through that escape. Why 5 Confederate forts? Anyone could have blown the Planter out of the water. One wrong signal, one alert guard, one moment of bad luck. Dead. But he made it. Why? Because God had a mission for him. To prove enslaved people could free themselves, to convince Lincoln to authorize black soldiers, to serve in Congress, to create schools, to fight for justice, to inspire future generations. God preserved him for a purpose. God preserved your ancestors through the Middle Passage. Why millions died, thrown overboard, starved, beaten to death. Your ancestors survived. Why? Because God had a mission for them, to survive, to resist, to build, to pass life forward to you. God preserved your ancestors through slavery. Why? Worked to death, whipped, sold away from families, raped, murdered. Millions died. Your ancestors survived. Why? Because God had a plan to bring you here, to this moment, reading this truth. God preserved your ancestors through lynching. Why 5,000 murdered, thousands more beaten, threatened, terrorized. Your family line continued. Why? Because you have a purpose. You have a mission. You are here for a reason. God preserved your ancestors through Jim Crow, through redlining, through mass incarceration, through police violence, through every form of oppression white supremacy created. And you're here, alive, awake, learning truth. Why? Because you have a mission to learn this history, to teach your children, to demand reparations, to build wealth, to vote, to resist erasure, to continue what Robert Smalls started 163 years ago. You are not here by accident. You are here by divine appointment. Your survival is proof of purpose. Your existence is resistance. The fact that you are still here after 400 years of terrorism is a miracle. And miracles happen for a reason. God preserved you to be a truth teller, to be a freedom fighter, to be a builder, to be a warrior, like Robert Smalls, like your ancestors. The same spirit that made him steal a warship is in you. The same courage that made him face Lincoln is in you. The same determination that made him fight for 50 years is in you. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to stay silent while they continue erasing your history? Are you going to accept poverty when you're owed trillions? Are you going to let them suppress your vote without fighting back? Are you going to watch them gentrify your neighborhood and say nothing? Or are you going to stand up, speak out, demand what's owed, build what's yours? Fight like your ancestors fought, because that's your mission. That's why God preserved you, to finish what they started. Robert Smalls didn't wait for permission. He took freedom. You don't need permission either. To learn truth, to demand justice, to build wealth, to teach your children, to vote, to organize, to resist. You have permission from your ancestors. You have permission from God. You have permission from history. Now act like it. Pause this video right now. If you didn't know Robert Smalls before today, comment Smalls below. Let me see how many people are learning this for the first time. If you're angry they erased this from your education, hit that like button. Your like pushes this video to more people who need to know. If you're going to teach this story to your children, comment teach, because that's how we break the cycle of erasure. This is just one story. There are hundreds of black heroes they deleted from textbooks. Warriors, inventors, millionaires, congressmen, generals, queens, revolutionaries. All erased, all buried under lies. And we're exposing all of them on this channel. Don't let the algorithm bury this truth. Your engagement keeps it alive. Your comments tell YouTube this matters. Your shares break through the erasure. Robert Smalls risked death for freedom. The least you can do is click a button to make sure his story survives. Do it now. Comment, like, share, and then keep watching because we're not done yet. Here's what I need you to understand about the future, about what comes next, about your responsibility in this moment. If you made it this far, you're not here by accident. God put this video in front of you today because you needed to know. Because you have a role to play. Subscribe to this channel right now. We're exposing hundreds more buried stories. The Black Wall Street millionaires they erased. The armed resistors who fought the KKK and won. The inventors whose patents were stolen. The congressmen who were driven from office by violence. The queens who ruled nations. The warriors who defeated armies. Every week, more truth. Stories they don't want you to know. History they tried to bury. Your stolen inheritance restored one video at a time. Don't miss it. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because once you know the truth, you can't go back to ignorance. And once you're awake, you have a responsibility to wake others. Share this video. Send it to your family group chat. Post it on your timeline. Tag someone who needs to know. Your children, your parents, your cousins, your church members, your co-workers, anyone who was lied to in school, Anyone who thinks black history is just slavery and civil rights. Anyone who doesn't know that Robert Small stole a Confederate warship and became a 5-term congressman. Share it. Because the schools won't teach this. The textbooks won't include it. The system that erased Robert Smalls for 100 years is still operating. They're still controlling the narrative. Still deciding what history gets taught. Still prioritizing white perspectives and erasing black achievement. You have to break that cycle. You have to be the teacher. You have to be the truth teller. You have to be the one who says no more lies, no more erasure, no more accepting their version of history. Comment. What shocked you most about this story? Was it the warship hijacking? Was it that he served 5 terms in Congress? Was it that he created America's first free public school system? Was it that he showed mercy to his former enslaver? Was it that they erased him for over 100 years? Let me know. Tell me what hit you hardest. Because your comments aren't just for me. They're for everyone else watching. They're for the person scrolling through wondering if this video is worth their time. They're for the algorithm deciding whether to promote this truth or bury it. They're for the community we're building of people who refuse to accept lies anymore. This is not just history. This is your stolen inheritance. This is your legacy. This is your identity. Reclaim it. Preserve it. Pass it forward. Don't let another generation grow up not knowing Robert Smalls. Don't let your children learn the sanitized version that makes them think their ancestors were helpless. Don't let your grandchildren inherit ignorance when you have access to truth. You are the keeper of this story now. You are responsible for what happens next. Robert Smalls stole a warship so he could be free. What are you going to do with the freedom his generation fought for? Are you going to waste it? Or are you going to honor it by continuing the fight? The fight for reparations, the fight against voter suppression, the fight for educational equity, the fight against police violence, the fight against mass incarceration, the fight for economic justice. All of it. Robert Smalls fought for 50 years. You can fight too. And you don't fight alone. You fight with the strength of ancestors behind you. You fight with the spirit of Robert Smalls in you. You fight with the courage of people who survived 400 years of terrorism. You fight with the intelligence of people who built empires from nothing. You fight with the compassion of people who showed mercy to enemies. You fight with God on your side. Bow your heads with me. Father God, we thank you for preserving Robert Smalls through that escape on May 13, 1862. We thank you for the courage you placed in his heart when he decided to steal that ship. We thank you for the intelligence you gave him to memorize those signal codes perfectly. We thank you for the steady hand that guided him past 5 Confederate forts in darkness. We thank you for the 16 souls he freed that night, his wife Hannah, his children Elizabeth and Robert Jr., his mother Lydia, who had been enslaved for 50 years, and 12 others who bet their lives on his plan. We thank you for his 50 years of service after freedom, for the battles he fought in the Union Navy, for the ship he captained, for the 5 terms he served in Congress, for the school system he created that educated thousands of black children, for the legislation he wrote that protected civil rights, for the businesses he built that employed people, for the newspaper he published that told truth, for the example he set that inspired generations. We thank you for his mercy, for allowing Jane Bond McKee to live in his house after she had enslaved him, for showing us that power doesn't require cruelty, that justice doesn't mean revenge, that freedom makes us better, not bitter. We pray for justice for the ancestors whose stories were erased, Robert Smalls and thousands like him. Warriors, builders, geniuses, leaders, whose names were deleted from textbooks, whose achievements were buried under lies, whose legacies were stolen just like their wealth was stolen. We pray that their names be restored, that their stories be taught, that their honor be returned. We pray for reparations, not as charity but as justice, not as handouts, but as return of stolen property. The 14 trillion in stolen slave labor, the trillions in destroyed property from Tulsa and Rosewood and Wilmington and hundreds of other massacres, the trillions in lost wealth from redlining, the ongoing theft through wage discrimination and mass incarceration and environmental racism. We pray for full accounting, full restitution, with interest, with accountability, with honor. We pray for every person watching this. Give them the spirit of Robert Smalls, bold, strategic, uncompromising, willing to risk everything for freedom, willing to fight for 50 years for justice. Give them courage to speak truth, strength to resist erasure, wisdom to teach the next generation, resources to build wealth, power to demand what's owed. Bless those who seek truth even when it's uncomfortable. Strengthen those who fight for justice even when it's hard. Vindicate the memory of our ancestors who died unnamed and unmarked. Restore the honor of those who built and had their building destroyed. Return the wealth that was stolen. Repair the damage that was done. And give us courage to finish what they started. Robert Smalls started the fight in 1862, fought for 53 years until he died in 1915. The fight continues. We pick up where he left off. We carry the torch. We continue the mission. We don't stop until justice is done, until reparations are paid, until every lie is exposed, until every truth is taught, until every stolen thing is returned. Give us strength for the journey, courage for the fight, wisdom for the strategy, unity for the movement, and victory in your timing. We don't fight for revenge. We fight for justice. We don't fight with hatred. We fight with truth. We don't fight alone. We fight with you and with the ancestors and with each other. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Robert Smalls stole a Confederate warship in the middle of the Civil War and became a 5-term United States Congressman. Your ancestors didn't wait to be saved. They saved themselves. They didn't beg for freedom. They took it. They didn't ask for permission to build. They built anyway. They didn't accept the lies. They told the truth even when it cost them everything. Walk in that power. Demand that justice. Build that legacy. Teach that truth. Your children are watching. Your ancestors are watching. God is watching. And history will record what you do next. Robert Smalls is proof that one person can change everything. One enslaved man with courage and intelligence and faith changed the course of the Civil War, convinced a president, freed thousands, served millions, built systems that outlived him, and inspired generations, including you right now. You have that same power, that same potential, that same responsibility. Use it. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your mission. Don't waste it. Don't hide from it. Don't run from it. Stand in it. Own it. Execute it. Like Robert Smalls executed his plan on May 13th, 1862. Until next time, know your history. It wasn't what they taught you. Teach your children. Don't let them learn the lies. Demand reparations. You are owed. Build wealth. Like your ancestors built. Vote. Your power terrifies them. Stay free, because freedom is what your ancestors died for. Robert Smalls. Remember that name. Say it out loud. Robert Smalls. The man who stole freedom and never gave it back. The man who became a congressman and created schools. The man who showed mercy to his former enslaver and fought injustice until his last breath. the man they erased from history because his truth was too powerful. You know his name now. Make sure your children know it too. Make sure your grandchildren know it. Make sure everyone you know learns what you learned today. Break the cycle of erasure. Be the truth teller. Be the history keeper. Be the freedom fighter. Like Robert Smalls. Like your ancestors. Like the warrior you were born to be.